Are you wondering how to finally achieve your goals in your business? Are you struggling with where do I start with my marketing and what is it that's holding me back? Then this episode is absolutely for you. Today, in this episode of More Conversations, Clients, and Cash, we're going to be diving into the art of boundary setting and how it can actually exponentially increase your impact for your business, for your clients, and for building the life you want. Welcome to More Conversations, Clients, and Cash. I am your host, Kimberly Weitkamp, conversion focused coach and marketing strategist. And one of the things that I really love talking about is building the life you want. Oftentimes, it's so simple in this online, very noisy, very crowded marketplace for us to start looking at all of the successes around us and all the other people who are further along their path than we are and think that that is the life we want to live, right? People are telling me, oh, you need to break 6 figures, or you need 100 clients, or you need to build an agency, or. The list can go on and on. But the thing to remember is that this is your life. This is your business. And you get to decide what your success looks like. But often what happens is we don't actually set success for ourselves. We depend on others to tell us what success looks like. And that is where the challenge comes in. Often I'll speak with my clients and they'll say, oh yeah, I was told to do video and to start a podcast. And then I'm going to have to be on social for 30 minutes every day and comment and link. And the list just keeps going and going. And then I'll sit down and I'll ask them, okay, which of those excites you? Do you want to do all of those? And often, of course, the answer is no, I just was told I had to. And that is our challenge. Had to should not be in our marketing strategy and plan. But more importantly, you want to have a clear idea of what success looks like in your business so that you can actually reach it. Often when people come to me and they tell me a marketing strategy didn't work, doesn't matter what it was, email, podcasting, cold calling, anything from sending out daily emails to doing launches to using a podcast to doing referral marketing. There's all kinds of different ways you can use marketing in your business. But when someone comes to me and say, hey, I tried this and it didn't work, I'll often then say one thing, and that is, can you tell me the numbers? And the numbers are really important, right? That's how we track. That's how we know if something's working or not. When I ask that question, sometimes I'll get, oh, I'd have to look it up, or I don't actually have that information. So it's really hard for you to know if something worked or didn't work if you don't even know your numbers. And here's a great example for that. Let's say you sent out an email campaign, okay? Email campaign, and it didn't work. What are your numbers? How many people received the email? Is everyone getting your email? How many people opened the email? How many people read far enough to see a link and clicked on it? Of the people who clicked the link, how many people scrolled all the way down to the next call to action button? These are things that we have to set for ourselves to know if they're working. And I'm going to dive deeper into how to set real marketing metrics goals for yourself and for your business in a later episode. But what I want to talk about today is building that life you want using your marketing and business strategies. One of the biggest achievements that I love seeing my clients get is for people to take a business-free vacation, often for the first time in years. Now, what does that mean, business-free? One of my clients literally left her laptop and all electronics at home. Her and her family went for an electronics-free weekend vacation. Now, for some of us, we're like, yeah, but I like being entertained by the games on my phone or the books on my phone or the music on my phone, right? So leaving our electronics behind is not necessarily something you want in life. But the idea was she couldn't even have the idea of, oh, I should go and look at my business because she had no way to look at it. And because she knew she had the strategy, the infrastructure, the people, the automations in place so that while she was on vacation, her business was still running without her. And that was huge for her. She'd taken vacations before in the past, right? Many of us as entrepreneurs, we still do manage to like carve out a week at least sometime during kids' school summer vacations, apparently, or around holidays. And we do go on vacation, quote unquote. But for many of us, right, that actually means, well, we leave our home and we go to a new place and we do things we don't normally do. But it's not necessarily a vacation, right? We've still got our email on our phone. We're still checking in just real quick. We're still removing ourselves from experiencing the vacation in some way, shape, or form so that we can go check on work. And if that's what you want, that's fine. But for many of my clients, they really want to be able to ditch that. So, this is where boundary settings and how powerful boundary settings can be for you and how it ties into the goals for your business. So, one of the things I specialize in is helping my clients figure out, where are your boundaries? What is that ideal life you want to live? Right? Most of us have been promised the entrepreneurial dream. But what does that even look like? What does that mean? Right? One of the phrases I see all the time in marketing for people to become online business owners is ditch the 9 to 5, ditch the 9 to 5, ditch the 9 to 5, which means essentially, right, you don't have to be at work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in an office. But what do people default to? The 9 to 5. And there's other reasons for that happening, right? Especially if my clients have children, then they have to kind of still follow that 9 to 5 because they have to be able to drop their kid off at school. They want to be there to pick them up. They want to work while their child is out of the house, and they want to be able to be present and enjoying family time when their kids are home. So they still work a 9 to 5. But even if you have an outside constraint like school schedules, or you have a spouse or partner that is also working a 9 to 5, there are still things you can do to set your own schedule. So, for example, if you have a partner who still works a 9 to 5, but you don't, what's to say you can't take off a random afternoon for yourself before spending time with your partner or family? What's to say you don't wake up at 6 a.m. one day and sleep in? The other piece of this is often there are 3-day events that are a huge part of not only networking and building and growing our business, but really powerful for us to be able to get the information and to cram a lot of thought and a lot of exercises and a lot of breakthroughs into 3 days. But often those take place over a weekend, right? They're usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or even Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you're going to work a weekend, why not sometime around there take a random day off during the week? Or declare that you only work 4 days a week, or declare you only work 3 days a week, right? Maybe the 3 days you work that week is the 3-day event. That's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's okay. You get to choose that. Here's what happens when we set boundaries for ourselves and for our business. We have an end goal. We have a destination. We have a success to work towards. The reason I find many people feel they aren't successful is because they haven't defined what success looks like for them. They haven't defined it. They haven't gone through it. They haven't even contemplated that success may look different for them than for other people. And that's okay. You are in control of your life. You get to build the business you want, not the business other people say you should build, not the business other people claim is the metric of success, right? I'll give you a quick example from my own business. I did copywriting for a number of years. Last count, it was 9, I believe, 9 or 10 years. And I did it for a very long time and I was very good at it. But at some point I was like, this is wonderful and fantastic. And I love when my clients get the wins, but I want to do something different. I want to play in a different place. I want to focus on the strategy and how it all comes together and making a bigger impact by being able to teach people instead of being hired at a high ticket offer one-to-one. And so I started doing done with you type deals, right? I host workshops, I host trainings, I host 2 and 3 day boot camps. I host get it done sessions. There are tons of things that I have put in place as services and offerings for my clients that's done with you. They still do the writing, but they get the results they want at a price point that works for them. And I was at a networking event shortly after I made the declaration that I was strictly going to focus on done with you. I didn't want to do it yourself because I've taken so many courses that are do it yourself, and I know how far I didn't get in them. And I wanted to be able to see my clients' success and watch them go from where they were to where they wanted to be. So I decided to focus strictly on the done with you. Now, that might change. In the past, I did done for you. In the future, I might do it yourself. That's okay. You're allowed to build the business you want. So I was at this networking event and I made my introductions, right? And I said, I work with people in a done with you capacity to help them create the marketing that feels authentic to them, aligns with their values, and saves them time. And immediately, another woman in the room, she's like, wait a minute, you do done with you. So like you teach them how to do it and then you'll do it for them? And I said, no, I don't even offer done for you anymore. And she said, yeah, well, no one's ever going to pay for done with you. Nobody wants done with it. People only want done for you. Now, at the time, I had 5 people in my year-long program blossoming in a done with you format. So I knew there were people who were interested and done with you, people who want to know exactly how to create this stuff for themselves so that when they hand it off to another person, if that's something they want to do, then they know what good looks like and they can show the person they hire exactly what they want, what the success metrics look like for them. But if I listened to this other coach who said, oh, no one wants done with you, only done for you, no one's going to pay you to do done with you, then I would be building a business that I didn't want. So I had the boundary of here's what I do want to do and here's what I don't want to do. And because I had that boundary and I had sat down and decided that for myself and mapped out how I wanted to work with people, it was easy for me to say, thank you so much for your feedback. Just because somebody gives you advice does not mean you have to take it. Just because you can work with someone does not mean you should work with them or have to work with them. Just because somebody knocks on your door, whether that's on a Zoom call, sending you an email, virtually giving you a ping or a push on social media, or actually walking up to you and shaking your hand at a networking event, however it is that you are interacting with your potential clients, just because somebody can pay you or says they want to work with you doesn't mean you have to work with them. You get to choose. And this goes back to me talking a lot about the 5C marketing framework, right? That's clarify, connect, cultivate, convert, celebrate. And clarify, a big piece of clarify, and again, you can go back and listen to the episodes on the 5C marketing framework. There is an episode for each of the C's. So a big part of clarify is knowing who you're talking to, knowing who you want to work with. Often I will ask people, okay, so who is your ideal client? And the first thing they say is, oh, well, in the past I've worked with ... But just because you've worked with someone in the past does not mean that's who you want to work with in the future. It could be. Absolutely. You may decide that that was your favorite person ever and you want 10 more of them. That's fine. You get to make that choice. But when deciding who it is you want to bring in, deciding who it is you want to market to, that's where the power comes in. Setting boundaries for yourself around who you talk to, around the activities and tasks you do and don't do, that is the key to the success that you're looking for. So boundaries can be powerful if we set them properly. There's a whole process to go through if you want to set boundaries for your life and for your business. And many of us kind of get lost, right? We don't really know where to get started. So one of the things that I love doing with my clients is we start with a deep dive. And I ask them a series of questions to kind of arrive at what are their boundaries. So if you're lost and you're not sure about what kind of boundaries you want or where to get started, here are some ideas for you. Number 1 is decide your time boundaries. When do you want to work? When don't you want to work? And then the hard part, of course, is honoring your boundaries. So if you have declared, I am not working on Mondays, and then somebody reaches out to you and say, hey, I need to talk to you. I want to hire you, but I can only speak to you on Monday. You then have to decide, do you want to honor your boundaries? Do you want to make an exception for your boundaries? Or is this you playing somebody else's boundaries? And you get to choose that, right? So a great place to start is your time boundaries. When do you and don't you want to work? What does that look like? Another great place is revenue boundaries. While there are tons of people who talk to scaling to 7 figures or breaking your first 6 figures, you may not want that business, and that's okay. If you feel successful because you're single, you make $75,000 a year, you more than pay for all of your necessities, and you have about, I don't know, $20,000 a year in fun income, right? Take a vacation, buy a new electronic, go visit family, whatever you want. You've got 20K to do it with fun money, right? If you make 50K, so 25K of that 75 is for fun money. The other 50K is to pay yourself, to pay your bills, and to pay the business. Is that success? It can be, if that's your definition. Do you want to become a millionaire? Do you want to build and put in the work it takes to grow that big? Do you want to have all the staff that might be necessary to run $1 million agency or business? If the answer is no, then taking tasks, activities, projects on that will propel us to 7 figures is not actually useful because it's not building the life you want. It's not building the life you want. So I encourage you, pull up a sheet of paper, pull up your favorite document, writing program, and brainstorm. Time boundaries. What boundaries do you want to set for your time? Brainstorm revenue boundaries. What boundaries do you want to set for your revenue? And brainstorm life boundaries. What do you and don't you want to do in life? What do you and don't you want to achieve in life? And a part of that, right, can be relationships, can be family, can be friendships, right? What kind of life do you want to build? You get to choose. So the key thing to remember when talking about boundaries is that part of it is knowing where they are. Part of it is knowing if and when you want to make exceptions. And part of it is honoring your boundaries, right? Honoring your boundaries. So if you're interested in coming on to More Conversations, Clients, and Cash and working through a really quick boundary setting exercise so that you can build the life you want, I'd love to talk to you. All you need to do is send an email to contact@theaudienceconverter, as More Conversations, Clients, and Cash is sponsored by The Audience Converter. So contact@theaudienceconverter.com. And in the subject line, say boundaries interview, and then send me a brief introduction of who you are and why you want to be on the show. I will be picking a few lucky winners to come on and create something in the future. But if you're looking to set boundaries, if you're interested in learning more, or if you're just open to sitting down for a quick conversation around boundaries and what that means for you, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of More Conversations, Clients, and Cash. We've been talking about the power of boundary setting and how to get started. And remember, when you are ready, there's a few ways I can help and support you. Number one is to grab the High Converting Lead Magnet Guide. It is a guide and workbook to help you discover what needs to go into your next lead magnet so that it does what you want it to do for your people. Another option is to come and join me at the next Leads on Autopilot Bootcamp. If you are interested in putting your leads on autopilot, creating the marketing to make it happen, and getting it all done in just 2 days, be sure to check out theaudienceconverter.com/2-day, theaudienceconverter.com/2-day. And of course, all of these links will be in the show notes as well. And always, you can subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on whatever podcast listening platform you use. We're on all of the big ones. And thank you so much for listening to this episode of More Conversations, Clients, and Cash. Until next time, keep calm and set your boundaries.